Hi, welcome to 58th session on IDC liquidation process. We're going to see another case study today in this session, which is all about Ambey Vaishno Steels Private Limited. This is case study 3 that we're covering. We've already covered 2 case studies. I'm sure you had an understanding as to what happens during the CIRP, which will result in a liquidation. But firstly, what happens before CIRP? We are very clear that company borrows money. It will fail in repayment, creating a situation of insolvency, compelling either financial creditor or operational creditor to actually file a case of CIRP at NCLT. NCLT, on being satisfied it's a fit case, approves that and appoints a resolution professional. This is what we've understood till now. So accordingly, if insolvency scenario will result in CIRP, failure of CIRP will result in liquidation, and liquidation process itself will take about 1 year's time, and then eventually the claimants might get some money. In the other cases that we have seen, that the claims are substantial, whereas the liquidation estate is not even 10% of the claimed amounts. So let's see what happened in this case of Ambey Vaishno Steels Private Limited. The total amount of claims by creditors is 124 crores 44 lakhs 92,769. Again, this is a massive loan amount and massive claim amount, right? But the total amount of claims accepted is again 124 crore 44 lakhs 92,769, which means not even a single rupee of claim has been rejected by the liquidator or resolution professional at this stage. Total amount of claim has been accepted. So if this is the amount of claim, and for a resolution process to be successful, for a resolution plan to be viable, what amount of money is expected by the claimants? I'm sure the claimants are expecting at least about 100 crore rupees so that they can get decent amount of money for each side for it to be viable. But however, let's go forward and understand the whole case. Some of the creditors, now you can see that we had State Bank of India, the financial creditor, and then we had State Tax Department, Government of Maharashtra as an operational creditor. This question is very important. What about government dues? Government dues will be called as a financial creditor or operational creditor or some other kind of a creditor. Remember again, government dues on what account will determine whether it is a financial creditor or operational creditor or other creditor. In this case, when you owe tax to the government department, the government department will become operational creditor. Similarly, if you see, I purchased electricity from the government and I have not paid electricity bills, the government will become my operational creditor and I will be their debtor. Then we are talking about income tax department. Again, if I am not paid tax to income tax department, that becomes operational creditor to me and I become their corporate debtor. Now, list of claims by OCFC secured creditors are all here for us to understand how it works. But the total amount of claims made is 124 crores 44 lakhs as we remember. So this is the brief story of the claims. Let's see what are the claims by whom. We have unpaid insolvency resolution process costs, which is coming to about 20,78,043 rupees. Decent amount of money towards liquidation cost either spent or is accrued. Then liquidation cost, this is called as resolution cost, the first table remember, and this is now liquidation cost. This is about 3,29,000 approximately is on account of now liquidation cost. when I combine both of them, I would say something around 25 lakhs is the total amount of money which should be spared towards cost of CIRP and cost of liquidation. Now, I'm sure you are thinking, as I'm talking, simultaneously you are thinking as to how much more viable your resolution plan should be, right? So, when I'm talking about liquidation, we already know that the resolution plan has failed, only then it had come to liquidation. Now, liquidation costs are also incurred. When liquidation costs are also added, which is totally about 25 lakhs altogether, and there is a claim of 124 crore which is already accepted, we will need about 125 crores to actually settle all the creditors in full. So the liquidation plan, if it is bringing anything more than 125 crores, profitable liquidation, otherwise it is not. What do you think? Generally, profitable liquidations in this kind of a scenario is impossible to find, right? I will not say impossible at this stage, but it is impracticable. Most of them are always short of the claim money. Therefore, the claimants will get their money after we get the liquidation and the CIRP costs. So let's see who are the other creditors. You have secured financial creditor, large sum of money, about 100 crores I guess is owed to them. Then unsecured financial creditors are not there. Rest of the category is not there. You can see workman, employee, all of them are nil. Then we come to the last one, which is operational creditors, which is government dues. Again, a very large amount of approximately 23 crores is owed to them. Now 23 crores here plus 100 crores here is 124 crores approximately, plus 23 lakhs together for these two costs will make it approximately a 125 crore claim in total. Now your liquidation plan should be able to get that. So, as we said, this is what the liquidation plan should secure for all the claimants, about 125 crores. Whether CIRP is attempted, of course, as I said, it is definitely a prerequisite before the liquidation. Unless you have attempted a CIRP, you won't know whether the company should go in for a liquidation or not. So in this case also, a CIRP was attempted with a 124 crore claim. But was the CIRP successful? It is not successful, only then it will come to liquidation. It is very obvious. So why was it not successful? We can see the resolution plan submitted by the applicant was not optimal in view of the COC, and hence the COC rejected the resolution plan, which resulted into liquidation of the company. So this is exactly what I am saying. The expectation of COC will be that they will get 100% of their money, but if they are not getting 100%, they will be satisfied with at least 60 to 70% of the money being recovered. When that is not happening, probably they might not be satisfied, or in some cases they might have a different reason for not being happy with the resolution plan. So, who was a resolution professional? Resolution professional was Mr. Manoj Kumar Mishra, who acted as an RP and who had run the resolution process, which had not yielded much result, and therefore we can say your CIRP had failed. The moment CIRP fails, the resolution professional will make an application to the NCLT and say that it is good time for now to do a liquidation. Hence, the NCLT had appointed a liquidator and had ordered liquidation on 5th of September 2024. This is again a very recent case as on the date of recording. So, date of passing liquidation order was 5th September 2024 is when the liquidation order was passed, and the name of liquidator named is Harish Kaushik. Now, this man has great responsibility on shoulder, Mr. Harish Khan, to ensure that the liquidation plan is satisfactory to the claimants or to the stakeholders consultation committee. So the liquidator so appointed had immediately made a public announcement on 28/1, public announcement was made on a different date. The date is not available here. However, the latest publication that he did was he published an auction notice on 28 January 2025, which is again very latest. Let's see public announcement which is made here. You can understand. Name of the corporate debtor, Ambey Vaishno Steels Private Limited. The date of incorporation was 2009. That means it survived for about 13-14 years and then went into CIRP and finally it came into liquidation about 2024. Authority under which corporate debtor is incorporated, obviously it's going to be Register of Companies, but in Goa. Corporate identification number is mentioned here. Address of the register office and principal office is also mentioned here. Date of closure of CIRP and beginning of liquidation is the same date here in this case. Sometimes it might be different. In the case study number 2, we have seen that Bajrang's case, we have seen that liquidation happened after 6 months of closure of CIRP, but in the current case it is the same date on which the CIRP closes and the liquidation begins. Name and registration number of the insolvency professional who is now appointed as liquidator is also mentioned here. And address and email of the liquidator. He stays in Maharashtra. There are a lot of times these questions asked. I don't know you are aware of it practically or not. NCLT usually asks a question. The company is situated in Goa and its assets are in Goa and the resolution professional or the liquidator is in Maharashtra. Can he actually execute the liquidation process smoothly? Most of the cases they considered proximity between the corporate debtor and the resolution professional is very important, though it may not be in the same city or same town exactly. But if the corporate debtor is within the reach of the liquidator's travel zone, then it is absolutely acceptable, and therefore liquidators and resolution professionals have been appointed from different cities to a corporate debtor in a different city. And then we have an address and email, and last date for submission of claims was given as 5th October 2024, and this was made on 5th September 2024. We know the liquidation order is passed on 5th September 2024, and within 5 days this notice has to be published, public announcement, and say on 10th September the notice is published and the last date for submission of claims is given as 5th October. Ambey Vaishno Steels Private Limited are hereby called upon to submit their claims with proof before 5th October. However, financial creditors can do so electronically, should do so only electronically. Rest of them can do in person or by electronic form or in any other mode. And if you don't submit your claim now, whatever you have submitted during the CIRP will be taken as your final claim. But it is always advised to submit a final claim before the liquidation. Now, what is the liquidation estate? There are two options for sale of liquidation estate. That's a different story. But let's first try to understand what is the liquidation estate. Liquidation estate has about 4 crore 5 lakhs. What is the claim amount that you remember, or how much is the money that we need to actually pay to all the claimants successfully is about 125 crores, in which you can recover the cost of CIRP liquidation and pay to all the claimants. But the total liquidation estate itself is about 4 crore 5 lakhs. Then does it make sense to actually do a CIRP with that? That's why it came to liquidation. Now, when it comes to liquidation, what is the big difference? You're going to get the same money anyway. But only one thing what you will ensure is this company is liquidated and will not borrow any money from any other borrower once again. Right? And hence, this will be dissolved totally. But in a CIRP case, this company will continue to exist and might keep on borrowing from other lenders again and again. So the idea is, a corporate debtor whose state of affairs is so bad that even resolution is not successful, then such corporate debtor should be liquidated. That's why most of the COCs are not in favor of a negligible resolution plan. They are saying if it's not viable, we are fine, let us just liquidate the company so that there is no further borrowing from anyone else. But the creditor will definitely not be able to recover the whole sum of money or not even a fraction of what he had lent. If you see, 125 crore is the required amount and the liquidation estate is only 4 crore 5 lakhs. So do you think we can happily or satisfactorily distribute this amount? No. For every 25 rupees that I am claiming, I am getting 1 rupee. Right? That's a bad scenario. So, however, there is no other option now. You have to settle with whatever comes. Because you have not taken a resolution plan, you have not approved it, you wanted a liquidation, and in the liquidation, this is what is the liquidation estate. And if liquidation successfully happens at this price, then you might, get at least 4 crores 5 lakhs. If this is also not happening, then God help you save your money, right? That's why this lending is a very, very risky business. One has to be extremely careful at the time of lending as to what is the way of recovery of that money. Does he have enough security as a cover for his loan amount? But most of us probably at the time of lending cannot ensure all this and hence we keep on losing money. Let's understand. Now when I am saying that this is the liquidation estate, which is land and building valued at 4 crore 5 lakhs, challenge is how do I sell it? So the liquidator has identified two options. Number one is I can sell the whole company as a going concern. So the buyer can buy the company along with the assets and continue business. Or the buyer can completely ignore the company and only buy the assets on a standalone basis. Which is more attractive? Buying the whole company as a going concern or just buying the asset? That's why these are very tricky scenarios, Somebody who's a real estate giant who knows how to play with real estate might only buy the land and building. But somebody who is very good in turning around insolvent companies, who understands how to restructure the corporate entities, that guy or that expert might be interested in buying the whole company as a going concern. So this is simply different perception, different thoughts of the buyers and different purposes according to which they act. Now because the liquidation estate is valued at 4 crore 5 lakhs, the Stakeholders Consultation Committee fixes the reserve price at 4 crore 5 lakhs and EMD at 10% of that, which is 40 lakhs 50,000, and auction notice dated 28/1/2025 was published. Sale of assets is scheduled through e-auction. Last date for submission of EMD was 20th February 2025 and the sale might happen on a different date. You can see date and time of auction is 24th February 2025. You can also track and see what happened in this auction. So, because it's a land and building, which is a very specific nature of an asset, what they've done is, they've also given details of the land and building, right? They said the value of the land and building is 4 crore 5 lakhs, EMD is 40 lakhs 50,000 and incremental bid amount is 5 lakhs if you want to increase. Bidding in both options shall be allowed on submission of EMD for each option. You can actually bid either standalone basis or as a sale of going concern basis. We have both options, option A here and option B here, but you will have to pay EMD separately for both options. Then you can bid under both options. Notes to auction process, we said if the highest bidder under option A offers bid value as mentioned in the point above, the H1 bidder under option A shall be declared as a successful bidder. Why? Because while we are doing liquidation, we always prefer somebody who would buy the entire company as a going concern, so that we don't have to do a dissolution. But where such option is not available, then maybe we will do stand-alone sale of the land and building. So that's why we are saying wherever there is a option A meeting the requirement, we choose option A as a going concern basis. But where it is not meeting, only then we will come back to option B, and the highest bidder in option B will be selected when option A is not available. So if you want to inspect the land and building, we said 18th February is the last date, 2025, before which you can come and inspect the land and building and pay your EMDs by 20th February, and date and time of e-auction will be 24th February. This is what is an announcement made. And what happened after the announcement, you can always track that. Maybe sooner or later, the total list of claims and realizable value of the liquidation estate will be announced, and then you can see whether the liquidation estate has been successfully distributed amongst the claimants or not. You can now check it whenever possible. So these are some case studies which help us understand how the resolution process is failed and how the liquidation process is going on and how it is to be completed. So please from your end also keep tracking these cases and try to find out more about the liquidation and disbursal of the amounts at the end. As you understand, section 53 of the IBC is the most important section. You need to understand the waterfall mechanism. So when you come to explore, you will understand how these monies are distributed under section 53 at the end of liquidation. Okay, thank you so much.